I've seen a lot of special operations candidates crash and burn during their land navigation tests, and that's discouraging because with a little bit of training and practice and a little discipline, you can learn how to land navigate, and you can even have fun while land navigating. In this video, I'm not going to teach you how to land nav, but I'm going to give you some advice that I learned during my Special Forces training that will absolutely help you to be more successful on any land nav course and win land navigating in general. This video is going to be perfect for anyone attempting a Special Operations Land Nav course. Think the Special Forces Qualification Course, JSOC Selection, Ranger School, AFSOC, Raider Training, BUDS. I can't make you a great land navigator through a video, but I can certainly give you some advice that will make you way more successful. The ultimate goal is for you to be able to quickly and competently make a very good route directly to your destination. And we will do so by discussing the rules of the game, dead reckoning, terrain association, using handrails, backstops, and attack points, and we'll finish off with route selection strategy. Let's begin with playing within the rules of the game. In my video about systems engineering, I discussed the importance of knowing the rules of the system and then figuring out how to use that system to your advantage. So the first rule of land nav is to obey the rules of your course. For example, some land nav courses let you talk with other land navigators and walk on the roads. Other land nav courses will kick you out if they see you talking to a fellow land naver or walking on the roads. On the battlefield, there are also rules for land navigation. Sometimes it's safe and you can use the roads. Other times you'll hit an IED if you use the roads. Sometimes you can ask the locals for help. "Hey stranger, I'm trying to find the American compound in your city. Can you point me in the right direction?" And other times, if you tell someone where you're going, they might arrange an ambush to kill you before you arrive. My recommendation to you is to know the rules of engagement and play within the rules. I think this is easy enough to understand. Let's move on to Dead Reckoning. One of my fellow Green Beret buddies is developing an app for setting goals. He calls this app Dead Reckoner. On top of being a great app for setting goals, Dead Reckoning is a technique that land navigators use to pick a direction, expressed as an azimuth, and they follow that azimuth to their desired land navigation point. This is done using the center hold technique or the compass to cheek technique. Dead Reckoning is good for short distances. I usually say between 100 and 400 meters, but it's not good for long distances, and it's slow. Terrain association is when you're looking at the terrain and using it as a guide to establish your approximate location and movement. Here we have a gentle slope or a hill. What do we know about hills? They take a lot of effort to walk up and down. Better yet is to find a flat spot where there isn't a large change in elevation and walk along that piece of terrain. Here's the side of a mountain on the left and a hilltop on the right. It's steep on the left, and you can tell this because the contour lines are close together. This is a bad place to walk because it's uneven and it will exhaust you. But here in the flat ground, you can move quickly and prevent gravity from destroying your legs and making you tired. Here's a river. We also have high ground on the left and right. It would be exhausting to walk along the high ground, so in this situation, I would walk where the contour lines are far apart. Here's a saddle. You see the high ground on the left and right. A Dead Reckoner might go straight over the high ground or the hilltops or even walk over both, but the professional walks where the contour lines are even. Here's a ridge. The amateur does Dead Reckoning and walks up and over the ridge. The professional goes where the contour lines are even. If you can walk on the roads or trails, then follow the power lines. If you can't, then just get above the tree lines and follow the contour line. This is the fastest route. This is a draw. This is where water is running down from the high ground to the low ground. Draws are sometimes thick and treacherous. The lower you are, the thicker the draw will be. The slower your movement will be. So never cross at the low point. It will exhaust you and slow you down. If I were in this situation, I would cross only at the highest point. better to have 10 more minutes of rucking to the high ground than fighting a draw for an hour. Here's one last piece of treacherous terrain. We have 2 big spurs and 3 draws coming off of this ridge. I've seen people fight the draw all the way to the high ground, but it would be better to move to the left a few hundred meters and then take the spur. And if you have to traverse this section of the mountain, then do so not at the bottom in the slow and low ground, but do so at the top in the high and fast ground. Because land navigation courses are timed, you're under pressure to get to your point as soon as possible. So it doesn't make any sense to dead reckon 3 or 4 kilometers. It doesn't make sense to fight thick terrain, for example a draw, when it would be so much easier to walk on the high ground. It doesn't make any sense to cross a stream or pond or lake when you can walk around it. A handrail is when you're generally following along in the same direction as a terrain feature. As you move, you keep this terrain feature on your right or left as you would follow a path that has a handrail. For example, here's an image of a river. You need to go from the south to the north, so you use your compass to keep your bearing generally north and you keep the river on your right side. In this case, you are handrailing the river as you walk due north. In this example, we have a major road on the left. Let's assume that you're not allowed to walk on the road, but you are allowed to be 100 meters from the road. So you keep the road on your left and you move north. In this example, you are handrailing the road to your left. A backstop is a terrain feature that is easily recognizable that signals you not to go further. For example, we want to travel north, but we establish the terrain track as the backstop. You can go as fast as you want, generally traveling north, but once you hit the train track, you've hit your backstop and you should not go any further. In this case, we want to travel east, but we establish the river as our backstop. So in this case, we can travel east as fast as we can until we hit the river as our backstop. Let's move on to an attack point. My definition for an attack point is a location 1 to 400 meters from your destination where you absolutely, positively know where you are. For example, here's a hilltop. On that hilltop, there's a tower. A great attack point would be from that tower. Another example might be the west side of this bridge. You absolutely positively know that you're here. The third example might be an intersection. It's between a train track going east and a hardball road going north-south. But this intersection has a north-south road, but the intersection is 270 degrees to the west and 45 degrees to the east. So when you get to an intersection, make sure that the angles are right and then you'll know where you are. An attack point is important because you navigate as quickly as you can to your attack point, and then you dead reckon from your attack point to your navigation point. Let me give you a few examples. All right, team. We're going to do a couple practical exercises. Let me orient you to the map, north, south, east, west. Here's the starting point. Here is your final destination point. Now the amateur land navigator is going to go here and he's going to dead reckon for approximately 310 degrees from his start point to his finish point. You're going to go down a hill, you're going to cross a river, you're going to go you're going to dead reckon all the way across this huge space and you're never going to hit this target. Let's talk about a better option. A better option would be to get from your start point, handrail this road until you get to the bridge, cross the bridge, and then you can go about 310 till you hit this intersection. You can use this road as a backstop. You can use this road as a backstop. But I would get to this point, I would make this your attack point, and then from there you go about 50 degrees, a couple hundred meters, and it's easy. You're right there. Another option would be to get across the river, handrail the river north until you get to the second bridge, and now you're at the second bridge. You're going to see the high ground, the hill on the left, so you go approximately 310 degrees, go up to the hilltop. You're going to make it to the hilltop, and once you're at the hilltop, you cut an azimuth, which might be 270, 260, and you use this as your attack point. You dead reckon a couple hundred meters and you hit your points. That's two different options. All right, let's move on to a second Scenario, here's your start point, here's your final point. Here we can see that an amateur is going to dead reckon 310 degrees for a couple kilometers. You're going to go down the hill, cross the river, this huge area. You're never going to make it. Better option is to use this road as a handrail, cross the bridge, and then go as quickly as you can up to this attack point. Now this attack point is past your position, but if you're moving fast, it's not going to be a problem. You get to this attack point, and then you dead reckon approximately 135, 150 degrees, whatever that is, couple hundred meters, and you're right there. If you're not that confident, then you can go till you hit this hardball as your backstop, and then travel north till you hit this hardball as your backstop. Go to the intersection, use that as your attack point, and there you have it. All right, let's move on to our third example. Here's the start point, and here is the final point. That's your destination. An amateur is going to plot an azimuth and use dead reckoning for several kilometers to go from the start point to the finish point. It's about a 45-degree angle for a couple kilometers. You're going to pass big open area, cross a bridge, cross a river, maybe hit the side of a draw, go up the high ground, cross a street. You're never going to find your point. Let's look at a better idea. All right, so the better option right here is to use this road as a backstop, this river as a backstop, and you can go from your start point up, hit the backstop, and then handrail it till you get to this attack point. Or you can go due west till you hit the river, handrail the river all the way up to the bridge, and then use the bridge as an attack point. Once you get to this attack point, you absolutely positively know that you're right there. So you just go across, you cut your 50-degree angle, couple hundred meters, and then you find your point very easily. So what's good about this route is that when you're moving up this way or you're moving this way, you can go as fast as you can. I would actually rather be on the high ground. I'd stay away from the river because the terrain next to the river is sometimes can be treacherous. So I would take this route, and I would go up to my backstop, go over here to my attack point. I positively know I'm there, and then just move into your land nav point. All right, we're here at our last example that I'm going to give you. Here you can see the start point. Here's the finish point. Again, an amateur is going to dead reckon this distance, this azimuth all the way. You're going to cross a wide open area, a couple streets or roads. You're going to go up and over the side of a hill. You're never going to make it. So let's look at a better idea for getting there. Here's the strategy that I would use. You could generally go 45 degrees as fast as you can. Hopefully you're going to see the high ground, and you're going to see this hilltop, and you're going to see the tower, and you're going to find this tower as fast as you can. And from there, you're going to cut about a 50-degree angle, couple hundred meters, and you're going to go to your point. That's the technique that I would use. As you're traveling north and going, 20, 30 degrees north as fast as you can, the backstop is going to be right here, the train tracks. If you're going too quickly, you might go over here, you hit the river, then as you're going north, you see a road and a bridge, then you could go up here to the train tracks and a bridge, and then from there you have your azimuth, and you use this as an attack point. So these are two different options: to handrail the river, the final bit, use the train tracks as the backstop, establish your attack point, and then from there go directly to your land navigation point. And the really long route would be if you were to just travel north till you hit the train tracks, then follow the train tracks into the bridge at the river, and then use that. Or as you're getting closer to the river, you're going to notice the high ground, and then maybe you just divert, go up to the tower. If it's not too high, you don't want to waste your energy, and you want to conserve your strength, but get to the tower and then do your attack point from the tower directly to your point. All right, there you have it, my route selection strategy. My first recommendation is that you know the rules of the game, and then you use terrain association, handrails, and backstops to get as quickly as you can to your attack point. Once you're at the attack point, You use dead reckoning to get to your land navigation point, and then you start the whole process all over again. If you're interested in learning more about preparing for the military or special operations training, then be sure to check out our Train Up course, available at lifeasaspecialoperation.com. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to join our Life as a Special Operations team, and be sure to forward this video to a friend or family member who needs to see it. Life is a special operation. Are you ready for it?